Hello, Capricorn, and welcome back to Soulfire Tarot. My name is Steve. This is for the month of April 2025. All right, just a little forewarning. I've been sick, and it sucks, but I'm starting to feel better. So there could be a chance I cough and or sneeze. So I'll do my best not to project into this. Case in point. Anyways, I'm over here looking like a sweaty hobo Abe Lincoln, but let's get it. Fellow Capricorns, I myself, Capricorn Sun with a bunch of other Capricorn in the back of the chart, but ruled by Neptune. And anyways, let's get to it. So first I'm going to draw from the Psychic Tarot card deck. I draw these only in the upright position. I've been finding a good flow, drawing a left and right theme, which I kind of see as like pillars. And then I do a 7-card spread from left to right. And then I do another one from right to left underneath the first. And then I also have the Wild Oracle Mystic Oracle cards. And lastly, most fun and oftentimes valuable part is the Obsidian Orb Psychic Insights, where I gaze into it, focus my intention, and try to glean some more psychic, spiritual kind of insights and visions around the reading and the theme for the energy of the sign for the month. Alrighty, here we go. So first, this is a card that popped out. It was like, I want to be on top. I was like, all right, card, there you go. So yeah, this has been coming up a lot. This is the Power card. I've had this in 2 prior readings thus far in the full 12 Zodiac suite. So this will be on the left. This is also the Strength card. They call it the Power card in this deck. As you can see, there's this old, wise, kingly man and the lion. You know, he has the power and strength of a lion, you know, that kind of nobility, that animal spirit archetype within themselves. And so, yeah, we're going to put that on the left. And secondly, for the right, we have the Victory and Success card, Capricorn. Wow. So this is looking like quite the Cappy kind of structure thus far. So in this imagery, we have a dude just, you know, playing a one-note bugle where you can just like, boo 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 boo. Victory and success. So yeah, April, spring energy is up here in the northern hemisphere. I know in the southern hemisphere it's opposite, but for most places. All right, let's get into some more fine granularity here. Alrighty, I'm just going to draw from the top. Pre-shuffled all these. All right, first we have the 7 of Cups, Capricorn. So this is, you know, the card of kind of like dreaming, multiple possibilities, you know, not exactly at a position of making a decision, but kind of assessing, seeing what the possibilities are, feeling things out. Things are kind of up in the air, but let's get some more context because it really depends on the full picture. So next we have Temperance. Card of tempering elements, the idea of like, you know, like tempering steel. You know, you just got this raw material, and if you want to forge it into something useful or valuable, you have to like temper it. You know, you have to work on shaping it, and it takes like effort. You know, you have to put energy in to like produce something. So yeah, interesting. Next we have in reverse the 8 of Pentacles. In reverse, and the imagery in this version, this is the Rosicrucian Golden Order of Dawn Initiatory Tarot deck. We have this person who is, you know, at this threshold with a snake, and you know, it's kind of like they're coming up against this threshold, this doorway, where they're facing some kind of like primordial fear of some sort, some kind of danger, perhaps. All right, next we have in the middle here, yeah, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. So reverse, I recently was learning a little bit more of this with AI. I oftentimes, after my readings, I'll take the transcript and I'll run it through and be like, all right, you're an expert astrologer, or tarot reader, I mean, and assess via my transcript of everything I said through the reading. It's like assess it, you know, show me what I got right per like your expert knowledge, and then show me what I could have done better or where I missed the mark. And this is one of the cards that actually in one of the past readings, I forget which, I kind of misunderstood and I didn't see one of the contexts. So I'm still learning, but you know, here we are in process. Overall though, I was actually kind of surprised. AI was like, yeah, you had some good shit, dude. And I was like, oh, yeah, Thanks. But anyways, yeah, not to lose the point here. This in reverse could be highlighting, so we see in the upright position, this is somebody who is very sharp. She is somebody who's cunning and kind of like could have a ruthless character. We have a head cut off. This is, the ability being so sharp with a sword, so volatile to be able to cut somebody's head off intellectually, for example, like high criticism, right, in a position of authority. But this is in the reverse. So sometimes, especially in like a personal reading, I've been learning it can mean more so about like inner criticism, criticizing ourselves. So yeah, I'm seeing that there. Also, this eight of Pentacles was actually in reverse. So I'm thinking that has more to do with perhaps there are some things that we might be afraid of that it would be good to look into a little bit more to kind of assess like where we've perhaps like afraid of something that's holding us back. Or it could be signifying that we're getting past a fear, and that kind of makes sense in context here, especially with this card, this threshold fear kind of thing in the middle, with temperance before it, right? Transforming, tempering steel, that kind of idea, the alchemical process of refining things, of what is possible with the Seven of Cups here, right? Underneath the Power card, which is about strength and like, disciplining, taming that inner power, like the unconscious, the subconscious, to be able to, like heed that. Be like, all right, that crazy lion inside of me that's just like running rampant. Maybe it's a scared lion, a cowardly lion. Like, come over here. I'm going to train you. You're going to be with me, and together, me, human, and lion, we're going to be more powerful than we would be if we were just on our own. We can work together. So yeah, it's the idea about integration, essentially, psychological integration. So yeah, I'm seeing this criticism, the self-criticism possible card, and that's in the middle. That's the 4th out of 7. Next, we have the Emperor. So yeah, this card here, I oftentimes see as like about domain, so like authority, rules, ruling over things. But we'll continue and I'll get some more context with that. We have in the 6th card here, we have the 3 of Swords. It's about worry. This is about like anxiety, uncertainties, in the mental domain. People who are kind of like have mental anguish, see this person kind of hunched down with thorns in the background, these daggers, like, I'm gonna stab your mind kind of stuff. And they're like, no. We've all been there. I mean, I don't know. I haven't had people shoving knives on top of me like that, but you know what I mean. Alrighty, and lastly, underneath victory and success, we have the 6 of Pentacles. And I kind of see this as kind of like figuring out like how you can fit your skills and applications into the world, So like, for example, for me to personally relate with this, doing this YouTube channel, doing these readings, and kind of slowly but gradually getting the practice of starting up a tarot card reading business, along the journey, part of the journey and learning is, figuring out like, okay, how does this all fit together? Like, what do I want to do with this? How am I going to make this unique? How is it going to be honest and authentic? But like, how am I going to make this work essentially, like long term, right? So there's a foray. YouTube exists, and there are all these whole gradient, whole spectrum of people of various degrees of success with their channels, and things are always changing, right? In the social reality, and there's different trends, right? So it's like, how do I'm starting to think about like, okay, business planning, like how am I going to work the algorithm, stuff like this. So yeah, I see this as a card once again as kind of figuring out how things fit in and what you're doing and what you apply towards how you make yourself in the world, kind of, because you see in this image, we see this woman here who's like underneath this tree with these fruits in this field where there's things that have been like cultivated. We see these bundles of hay, right? So people have been working on cultivating and harvesting something that is nourishing, right? And we see her underneath this tree just kind of looking like, whoa, like what is this place? What can I do here? So that's kind of where I draw my intuitive interpretation of that through the imagery. All right. I'm feeling called to actually draw a another couple of cards outside of the. We'll do another of the Psychic Tarot in the center. Yeah, so we have Deception and Envy. Interesting. This came up for Scorpio last night when I was doing 3 readings. So we're going to put that in the middle here. And this also goes underneath the... this is kind of lined up with this Queen of Swords in reverse, that self-criticism card. So yeah, it's kind of curious, and it's yet kind of mysterious to me. I'm wondering for myself, since I'm a Capricorn, and the energy theme for this time of the month kind of is relative to me as well. I'm thinking about like, okay, this idea of deception and envy. We see this person, right? He's green, and he's like, there's like a mask. I don't know, he's got these feathers, and, it's like certain people hold certain masks, Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what I'm teasing out here, is that, certain people, they might appear ostensibly, to have a certain opinion about something, and, but underneath the surface, inside themselves, they might feel or think a different way about that. And so, therefore, there may be deception and possibly also envy. Perhaps people are envious of you, perhaps you, Capricorn, there's some envy going on, or maybe some deception. And I wonder if that relates to anything with like this criticism, maybe for you, Capricorn. And again, I can make this relatable. There's probably some parts of me, I'm sure that will come up. And if I really did some like shadow work to like look into it, I'd be like, am I an imposter? Am I good enough to do this? Like what makes me qualified to be a tarot card reader? Like anybody can do it, but there's so many great people out there. Why does YouTube need another tarot card reader? Well, this is something I enjoy, it's passionate, it's interesting, and I feel like I can provide a lot of value from it. In fact, it's a way for, I find that I've been able to kind of conduct my greater understanding, that I've learned on my journey of life and different forms of knowledge, I can kind of share that within this container. So yeah, I wonder if, perhaps this lack of self-belief and criticism, if there's something going on with that and some kind of deception relating to yourselves, Capricorn, or maybe there's other people out in the world who feel that way, excuse me, about us. So anyways, all right, next I'll draw, no, I gotta wait for that. I like to do the Wild Spirit Oracle card last. All right, next I'll go from right to left. So underneath the Six of Pentacles, yeah, we have the Empress in reverse. So yeah, typically the Empress upright, I see this as somebody who is very much kind of like grounded in their sensibilities, their feelings. This is kind of the feminine side of the Emperor, right? Emperor, Empress, right? So this is somebody who's ruling, but more so in the feminine. I'm seeing that in the reverse, though, underneath the Six of Pentacles. Interesting juxtaposition. And again, this is lining up underneath the Victory and Success card. So I feel like this might be reminding us to kind of like stay grounded in our sensibilities when it comes to trying to kind of like figure out how we can apply ourselves and where we're at and where we're going. I think this is a reminder. I think some of us in this month, perhaps, there could be an energy or a theme about, feeling kind of uncertain or ungrounded about that, about going forward with something. But I think this is really just kind of reminding us to, take the time to get in touch with our sensibilities and understanding that how we feel about it is really important. How we feel about what we're doing can make such a difference in the outcome, and I feel like preparation is such a big part, and just showing up to do the work. I've been really sick with a cold the last few days, and 2 days ago I was like, no, I got to do all of these by the start of the month. I'm like, I ain't doing that right now. But then yesterday, I was like, I broke, from my fever and illness, and I was like, I'm going to do it now. Then I, just did it and showed up and did it. And yeah, and there you go. Simple example of, I was feeling good enough to do it, right? But part of the cool thing is via our choices, our agency, or free will, we can choose, we can set ourselves up for success, right? For victory and success, this is underneath this pillar on the right. So Yeah, I feel like this is, yeah, just kind of suggesting to us to, do what you need to do to get grounded and feel good, take care of yourself, have your kind of your inner and outer space, in order so that you can be a sound mind, sound character, peaceful, to be able to find how you're going to apply yourself, so you can show up and be ready and prepared to bring your best to the world. So underneath the Three of Swords, that card of anxiety. Yeah, so in some senses, things are moving. Things are going. We have the Chariot here. You see this black and this white horse, right? So it's like positive, negative, light and dark. That's a big theme in this Golden Order Tarot Dawn, and they're like alchemical, Gnostic stuff. But yeah, simply showing that things are moving. So I'm seeing that underneath the Three of Swords. I'm going to draw another clarifying card, but I'm going to go into the middle of the deck for this. Yeah. So it's understanding that things are moving. So we might have certain hesitations, worries, and anxieties about whatever it is that we're going for and whatever's moving. And I think taking some time to understand, and reflecting and using our downtime well, the yin to the yang. If the yang is the activity and the doing, the inactivity, the time out, to think about things, to reflect is just as important, right? They go hand in hand together. They're one and the same. Every great thing that's been accomplished in life, every product, this microphone, these tarot cards, every piece of art, not all the time, right? Like I used to make art. I'm a very artful person. I had that on the shelf for a while, but it's to say that, yeah, just contemplating things really can help put more energy, to get more clear about like what are we doing. And so that's interesting. These cards I kind of see, at least through the image you just saw, quite similar. So at the beginning here, we had the Seven of Cups, right? This kind of seeing the range of possibilities, dreaming of what could be, right? And then this card, though, comes later in the process of seeing, how things, the Three of Wands, of like kind of how things are going. This is a man in a journey in a forest. He's looking at the fire at night. He's taking a rest in his camp in this dark forest. Like he's kind of in the thick of it, but he's taking time to kind of like, like, oh, I'm here, just looking into that fire, resting, reflecting, gaining light, absorbing light. All right, underneath the Emperor, we have the Six of Cups in reversed. So yeah, underneath the domain of the Emperor and his rulership, we have this card, the Six of Cups, which is kind of a romantic card. It's showing that there's this kind of like emotional stability, between this romantic couple and this sunset, right? It's kind of, by this dreamy pool and this, gorgeous kind of paradisical looking garden place, and this kind of emotional stability and, kind of like union together. But I'm seeing that in reverse. So I wonder if, there might be some, maybe there's some like stresses or tensions going on in some kind of like partnership, with relationship to your domain, your rulership, your authority, and like what you're building and maintaining and how you kind of keep your kingdom sound, and I wonder, I mean, my girlfriend, like she's kind of been away at a distance, and it's been a little challenging. Like we're getting through it, and it's fine, and it's all necessary. But yeah, so that's something I know that like once she's going to be back in my locale, after this time kind of apart for a while, like we've been going through some transformations and growing, and in a lot of ways it's been it's been strengthening our relationship in new ways. So yeah, I wonder what that may reflect for you, other fellow Capricorns. All right, underneath the Queen of Swords, we have, the Queen of Cups. So yeah, this is, I think, reminding us to, be cautious around other people's feelings, and to understand that when we're feeling high on ourselves, like to be careful of like how we might lord that over somebody else. And also understanding that our emotional fulfillment, our emotional stability, the way we feel and feel truly like nourished and passionate about what we're doing and how we're doing things, I feel like that can be a good basis around what we're dreaming. So I wonder if some of these criticisms, or this this anxiety that we might be feeling about ourselves, maybe it's ultimately around that of like, what is the dream, and how are we feeling about like what we're doing. I might be off on that, but it seems apt. I'm going to draw another clarifier card. Yeah, exactly. We have the Three of Pentacles, so this is about work. This is about producing something. It's so cliche, freaking Capricorn, but here we are. I mean, it's true. So yeah, the Three of Pentacles here. This is the guy who is uniquely crafting his own thing. He's adding there's this wall back there with all these bricks, right? And they're just like, typical Mason bricks, dime a dozen, but he's working on this unique brick that has these fanciful, artful things there, and he's doing it in his own way, but it takes time and effort and labor. So I'm seeing that in between that, and I think this is just kind of saying like, keep at it with the bit by bit by the details, and you can be authentic and true in whatever you're working on, to kind of give it your signature, and I think you'll feel better about that. It'll give you more emotional fulfillment and a sense of pride in your work. And not worrying so much about like what other people will think, like get over that. Deception and envy. If people are feeling envious about your work, like that's their problem, not yours, unless they come and make it your problem. But I mean, hopefully it doesn't come to that. Alrighty, underneath the Eight of Pentacles, we have the Two of Pentacles. Interesting. So many pentaculars and swords here. It's kind of a mix of everything, honestly. But let's see. So, yeah. Kind of in the upright position, we see, this little girl getting attracted and kind of blinded by the lights, a deer in the headlight, just, kind of being lured, by this infinity. She's on this path and this bigger journey. She's part of this bigger cycle in this Ouroboros, of life and death. But I'm seeing this in reverse, and this is underneath a fear. So I think for some of you, in this month, I think it could go either way. I think the energy, because things are kind of like in duality, and obviously, if this is speaking to a huge number of people, there's going to be a ton of different nuance and diversity in the details of everybody's individual life. But seeing this earlier, how I was saying, I was like, I feel like maybe there's a fear that is going to be overcome this next month, or some of the things that have been holding us back in terms of fears or hesitations on making move and stepping forward through some new doorway in life. I'm also seeing that this kind of like unknown, stepping into the unknown. I'm seeing this as, possibly showing that like we do know where we're going. Perhaps, we're clear about that, and this is a time to get going on that, and this is kind of aligned left with the power card, with the strength card. But in the opposite, I think it could also be spelling that there is a kind of uncertainty. And actually, this idea of uncertainty has been really big thus far in the month of April, across at least, I think, like 4 or 5 different sign readings that I've done. So yeah, I think for some of us, there could be some uncertainty and hesitation around certain things when it comes to making a decision or deciding if we're actually going to step into something. But ultimately, I think it's important to do the work and do the refinement, and we may have time to contemplate on the possibilities to see what is correct for us. And ultimately, if we're centered in the balance of, staying grounded in our own personal agency and authority, this is not to say to be a tyrant, but it's to say to be somebody who is like measured and balanced, and how they kind of like take ownership over their life, right? And sometimes that means like putting ourselves first and negotiating things, making a compromise or not compromising on certain things, for our core values and ethics. Sometimes when it comes to making long-standing personal growth, we have to set some things aside, in order to work on achieving a certain thing, to have victory and success on high. All right, I'm going to draw another clarifying card in between these. Ooh, coffee. Yeah, this one here. Yeah, so we have the Six of Swords. Yeah, so interesting. This one's still a little elusive to me, but I always notice, this very kind of vulnerable, partially nude woman standing on these 6 swords. There's a beheaded person in the background, and she has this head on a silver platter, right? So this is somebody who has, it's kind of showing that like elegance, grace, and refinement has overcome the brute, So again, this is interesting how it's kind of left aligned with like the power strength card. So I wonder if, some of these hesitations, crossing this threshold of fear and wondering about, maybe we're hesitating on taking the step to go forward into whatever this journey may be, towards working on something perhaps. Is, perhaps partly of what this has to do with is kind of like transforming our sense of identity, and cutting away some of the things that aren't serving us in our character and identity. Doesn't mean it has to be like a radical, just extreme thing, but even like a little thing, and again, these things take practice. It's easy to be in, we're just kind of on autopilot living our life, and then things happen, and sometimes things force things to happen where we have to change, right? But this is the power of the inner way, right? Of inner contemplation, taking time out to look in. And when we look within, it's like, wow, you can kind of see like this inner landscape of reality and how things connect and kind of where you're at in the center. And then from within, you can work there. And as you change things within, the outside changes. It's part of the magic of the esoteric ways, so to speak. And this isn't, devil stuff. It's a very simple. It's a very simple principle. Let's just say it's just an objective fact of, human psychosomatic reality. And it's kind of a-religious, if anything, it's just experiential. Every different religion will have different tenets of esoteric wisdom and knowledge, that we can glean and, gain wisdom from, and practical knowledge. So nevertheless, let's go to the Temperance card. And here underneath the Temperance, we have the 4 of Pentacles. So this is a man who, so underneath temperance and seeing about like tempering things and refining ourselves, this is somebody, so like you have your gifts, Capricorn, you have your skills and the value that you can bring to the world and that the world needs, and I feel like you've been in a position where, either in the upside down way, and this is certainly true for myself, like I wasn't showing up for that as best as I could, even though intuitively, from a higher place deep inside my conscience, I was like, I need to get back on that, after kind of like sleeping away for a while. But you have your gifts, and, you don't want it to go to waste, Capricorn. It's worthwhile to work on refining these things and tempering them, to transform the lead into the gold, to keep on refining your skills, your arts, your knowledge, whatever it is that you're doing that you enjoy and is valuable for you and others, is worthwhile. And again, that's underneath the Power card, which is the key theme on the left here. Again, which is like taming that lion, gaining that courage, taking the cowardly lion and like bringing it in union so you can be the courageous, king, or the person who can hold that card and or hold that power really and be more integrated as an authentic person in life. So underneath the 7 of Cups now, we have I believe this is the, hard to see upside down. So the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So this is in the month of April. There might be some questions and some hesitations about where you're going with relationship to work. So I feel like that's really quite clear in this reading. I think it's kind of a time for revision in the month of April here, and kind of assessing like where things are going, and where you might rather want to be and rather apply yourself and what to work on, all right, next I'm going to draw one of the excuse me, Wild Mystic Oracle cards for you, Capricorn. So we have the Badger, the trick card. So the Badger, I was reading more into the Badger recently. The Badger can, dig deep into things. The Badger can go underground with its senses and kind of suss things out. It's able to tunnel. It's able to dig. It's able to go down within the earth, to find different pathways to get to the riches, the things that it wants to eat, right? That's going to give nourishment. And it's very cunning. It has a lot of determination and willingness to find that. Badgers are very what do you call it? Like they're very persistent, and yeah, temperamental, I guess. But yeah, no, the key and the idea of the trick too, is like, what's the trick to it? Is there a trick to something, or is, like a badger and its trickery, tricking, digging down to get to something, or tricking, are you tricking yourself? Are you tricking other people? Is there a trick to what you're doing? Are you doing the actual work? Or are you just trying to, take some shortcuts to get there? But yeah, in the positive, seeing this ability to dig, deeply. And again, like I was saying, like taking the time, to esoterically for the inside way, looking within, contemplating, I know for me personally, that's like, it's so valuable and necessary for me to get like clarity, to gain more confidence and resilience towards what I'm doing, where I can find inspiration and motivation. Like I don't really get all that motivated too much, at least in like work relations, from other people. It's like I'm very self-motivated. I can be greatly motivated for other people I care and love about. But largely, yeah, most of the projects I've done in my life, anything that I feel like has been worthwhile, that I've put my heart and soul into, was something that was self-motivated for. So maybe for other Capricorns, that might be the case here. So yeah, take it as you will with the Badger card. Alrighty. Next, I'm going to gleam into the Obsidian Orb, and we'll see if I can get some more psychic insights. Oop. I have that sitting on a ring so it doesn't roll off. Great Spirit, help give me clarity and vision to speak and see clearly. Yeah, the first thing I'm seeing is like a crow in a meadow. It's interesting. It's very animalistic. I haven't seen that gazing into this yet. A crow in a meadow with this black eye, and a crow is very observant. A crow is very observant. They're very wise, and it's interesting that we pulled the trick card, because I think the trick card could be pulled on a raven or a crow, could be applied underneath this idea of a trick, right? Ravens with their trickery, they're smart and cunning, and, can solve complex problems and have a language. They can recognize faces of people that they've met and communicate that to other crows. So the crows know. The crows, like, if you make friends with a crow, or crows don't like you, like, they're gonna be like, hey, this guy, he gave us food. And then you'll have all these crows that are like, this is the food guy, we love him. It's incredible. They're highly intelligent. Anybody who still thinks or believes like, oh, they're just dumb machines that we can make use of, like, that's so stupid. Like, no, everything is alive. Even rocks, even this computer screen, it's all animated. Anyways, getting back to that, yeah, so I'm seeing a crow in this meadow, and then I had this vision of like this brook. So there's something to do with like witness, and like the power of observation, and being able to see through things in a way where you can actually gain perspective from the heights, as like such in a tree, or being able to fly and to be able to look at things from multiple angles, where you can gain new perspective to be able to give you a fuller picture on the reality. I'm also seeing with the water the kind of flowing of life, to see that things are in motion. And it's kind of the mystery of which is calling here is this idea of the metaphorical waters and the water of life, of what is flowing and nourishing. Where are you, Capricorn, in relationship to this river, this stream of life? Are you nearby it? Do you draw, give, and receive, and sustain yourself in the community of relations that go and flow with connection in this moving river of life? Are you out in the deserts? Are you quenched? Is your thirst being quenched, or are you parched? Yeah, all of a sudden, wow. Oh, this thing is gazing. Geez, I just saw mission. Yeah, this is kind of like a serious thing. Yeah, I'm seeing like this idea of mission. I just almost like went blind for a second. Yeah, I feel like for you, Capricorn, this whole thing ultimately is about like your mission. Like, what are you doing here? Where is it going, Capricorn? You know, it's this kind of silly how like stereotypical stuff can be, but that's what's coming through. Um, yeah. Oh, augmentation. Yeah. So next, I'm seeing the word that's coming to mind is augmentation. So let's think about augmentation for a time. You know, like let's say you have your hand, right? What does it mean to augment your arm? You know, you could put a glove on. All of a sudden, you have a glove on. You can go and you can work with sharp things, right? You protect your hands from hot things, from sharp things, right? That's an augmentation. You've augmented the function of this hand to be able to do something that it couldn't do without a certain technology, a certain modifier, right? So this idea of augmentation, you know, in relationship to mission, you know, and I think this it speaks to adaptability too, in augmenting what is necessary, gaining augmentations to be able to kind of enhance your aptitudes, your skills, you know, to be able to apply yourselves in new creative ways, to how that can kind of factor into like the matrix of reality and value, you know? So interesting. That's wild. Wild, 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 wicked, wicked, wild, wild. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, and trust in yourself. Trust in yourself is another thing that's coming through here. Trusting in yourself. If you can't trust nobody else, trust yourself. Trusting yourself, entrusting yourself with the time and the agency to be honorable, truthful, authentic, and real with yourself. Trusting yourself that you will do the things that you set out to do, being accountable to yourself, having the discipline and the willpower, and seeing the time to actually do the things that are necessary is worthwhile, because that brings satisfaction into your life and you see yourself more confidently. You feel more fulfilled. People hold you with more trust as somebody who is reliable and they can. The word determined is coming to mind. Yeah. Like there's somebody that they can rely on. Fascinating, Capricorn. Well, I hope that was of some value for you. I think it certainly was for me for this month. And with that, I'll give a little ding out. Once again, my name is Steve. I'm based in Minnesota here. It was a pleasure chatting with y'all. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. But I'd appreciate the thumbs up more. Either way, it is what it is, right? And if you'd like to leave a comment, I certainly appreciate that too. Let me know how it resonated for you, if anything is actually ringing a bell. And if not, let me know too. And subscribe if you want to follow for more down the road. All right. Peace.